I can guarantee you've never seen another one of these on the road ever, because there isn't one. Let's get started. If you watch Hoovie's Garage, you probably have seen this in one of his videos. This is owned by Tyler Hoover and Hoovie's Garage. This is his 1999 Cadillac Eldorado. It's purposely spelled R-O-D like hot rod. They call it an Eldorado. It's kind of like a prototype, one-off build type thing that was actually supposed to be crushed. But it wasn't. I don't know why. Actually, you can watch some of Hoovie's videos. There will be some more coming up soon on this car that actually tells the story, more information on this car. But today we're going to look at how it looks so cool, it's so awesome. But when they build these one-off cars, they actually, some of the things they do is kind of shoddy. It's just for looks. It's not meant to be on the road. It's not meant to go cruising to California. It's just for an idea to kind of portray what they have in mind. So let's take a look around this thing. There's a lot of changes. It is an Eldorado as far as the powertrain and things, but there's a lot of changes. So here's the beautiful front end of this Eldorado. You can see it has some slit style headlamps, which is what was designed for this prototype. But as we come around to the side, we can see one of the challenges I think that Hoovie's going to have when he tries to make this street legal. There's no turn signals, no side marker lenses, nothing. It's all smooth. And check out those wheels, guys. Solid. That's not a hubcap. You can see the belt line as it goes towards the back, straight all the way back. Very, very beautiful styling. And you can see that another challenge he's going to have, there's no side view mirrors. And it's supposed to have some little cameras in these ports here, which we'll be installing some real ones. But as far as that being legal to get a title, I don't know if that's going to work or not. We'll have to see. You can see right here that the fender skirt is not just some small skirt like we're used to on the older Cadillacs. This actually goes all the way to the bumper. And it has to bolt off. You have to unbolt everything. It's not nice little snaps. You can take the tires off without removing that, but you have to have a lift to do it. It won't be able to be done on the ground. You can see that this is Lexan, it's not glass, and they redid this entire structure here. They redid everything. It's lowered 4 inches. They changed the framework. It really did a lot of work to give it this straight line all the way back. It looks really good. You can also see there is a little crack there already forming. And here is the rear end, which it has the quintessential Cadillac vertical taillights. It also has vertical exhaust tips, which were special made for this vehicle. You can see the center tag license plate area where I mentioned it's pronounced Eldorado, like a hot rod, R-O-D. They emphasize the rod part. Here's the beautiful Cadillac crest, which Mrs. Wizard and Hoovie's girlfriend April from Good Morning YouTube, they like the little ducks there. Down this side is equally beautiful. Very, very nicely done. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. Are you guys prepared for absolutely nothing special? Because under the hood, it's just an Eldorado. The venerable North Star. This thing only has like 18,000 miles on it, so it does not have blown head gaskets. It has no issue with the cooling system. We do have the power steering pump removed. We're getting that replaced. It was howling, making noises. It was full of fluid and everything was bled correctly, but it was still howling, so it's a bad pump. Doesn't surprise me for all the sitting it's done. We just finished up a transmission service. We filled it up. You can see that in Hoovie's video coming up. But as you can see, there's nothing special under here. Stock air conditioning, stock engine. One thing I'm not seeing, which is the third issue that Hoovie's going to have making this street legal, there is no emissions data decal or sticker. Nowhere. I don't know that they ever anticipated for this to be on the road. I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not. But I don't see one. I looked all over. Normally they would be somewhere on here or on the hood right there. Let's go ahead and get the hood down and then take a look at the interior.
Wizard,
Yep.
How do I get in?
Normally it would have had some door poppers, like a key fob thing, but that system's not working. It's currently here to have that diagnosed as well, but you should be able to pop the door with a key fob, and that is broken. So you have to go on the inside, actually use the handle on the inside.
Oh, just like the Viper.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Okay, ladies and gents. Again, there's a few elements in here that are going to not be typical Eldorado or Eldorado, but in this case, our gauge cluster looks very much standard stock, what we would see in any caddy of that era. Move up, again, the dash is pretty much the same as we would see. We move down, you'll see one thing that is not stock in any other Cadillac of this era, or I haven't seen anything even of this era. Carbon fiber, and there's actually quite a bit in the car, so it does wrap around where the wood trim would have been, so it looks quite nice. As we move down, okay, normal caddy settings there, normal caddy settings here for our gear selector is leather wrapped. We do have nice carbon again around the gear selector. We do have a lovely hidden cup holder, and we do have a center console as well. Nothing crazy going on. Probably nothing has ever been in there, so not even so much as a dust mote, but there it is. As we look at our passenger seat, yes, this is a riding sofa. The seats are very plush, and they're almost a little stiff because they have not been ridden in very much at all. So, but they are very nice with solid and vented leather in the center. As we move to our door cards, you'll see that we also have a coat hanger in the car disassembled. And that is because Mr. Hoover needed to find a way to get into the car he bought at auction and had to use the coat hanger to get in because the key fob doesn't work. As we move to our back seat, looks perfect. It looks pristine because it is. There's just nothing going on back there. Nobody's ever sat back there, probably ever. So they just have fastened the seatbelts to make sure that I guess they still click, I guess. As we look up, you'll see our headliner is in pristine condition. Got a lovely little moonroof there with a cover that can be closed as well. And again, some of those beginning settings for opening garage doors back even in that time period. Nice. As we get back to our steering wheel, you'll see that on the sides, looks like there's wrenches on the side. No, not wrenches, but they are obviously little controls that can adjust, in this case, volume and select. And on this side, looks like, again, another parts of a wrench, but again, we can change the temperature and the blower motor settings. Interesting. Haven't seen that before. That's a nice addition. But we are back at the center with our lovely Cadillac symbol in the center of our leather-wrapped steering wheel. So even though this wasn't terribly different than a standard stock Eldorado of that time period, there's a few nice elements that make it definitely step up. So I'm wondering what this looks like on the underneath, and I know there's some changes that are going on underneath there.
So like I was mentioning, there is a door popper system on this. As you can see at the bottom corner down here, it would unlatch the car and then that would push the door open for you. Currently not working. And this is why it's shop policy non-negotiable that if your car is in the shop, your driver's window will stay down the entire visit until you pick up your car, for this very, very reason. Let's go ahead and get this thing up in the air. So you probably noticed when this was lifting, there's little wood blocks on the ground, and the reason why is because it's kind of hard to get the lift arms underneath the car. If we drive it up onto some little blocks, then it fits perfectly fine. So let's take a look under this thing and see what we see. The radiator core support area is nice and clean. Nothing leaking there, nothing seriously modified. Here's our standard North Star and our transmission here, which we did have the pan off. We did a filter service on it, so that's been reinstalled. You can see it has a ride height sensor and brakes, and everything looks stock. But if you look up here, you see those little gold squares. Those are wedged in between the springs. It's kind of a, really it's kind of a cop job way to get ride height. It really shouldn't be on a production car, and again, that just proves this was not meant to be a production car. They got the ride height dialed in just where they wanted without having any major work. They just wedged in a bolt-style lift kit. Another thing that's really odd on these is that when you go to put air in these tires, it's not from the outside because they're solid metal right here. You unscrew this cap, and there's a special adapter that fits inside of here that you can put air into the tire. You probably wouldn't want to take this to your local quick lube because they will probably just sit there and scratch their heads. Over on the side, everything looks good. Same scenario with the springs. They have some wedges up there that are used to get the right height dialed in. Again, just for show. It does have a catalytic converter installed. Everything's good to go there. That's a good thing, that at least it's road legal that way. But here you can see, as we get back to the fuel tank, you can see it's been scraped a few times when it's been loaded onto trucks and things. And the reason why, as we go back to the back, this has air shocks on it to get the ride height set up just where they want it. Like I mentioned, they lowered it 4 inches and they did some slight modifications back here. Right here is the suspension compressor. It actually fills it up with air. The system's actually functional. It's just that we found a couple of lines that actually go to this wheel were purposely cut with like wire cutters or diagonal cutters. Just snipped. That's why it's dragging all over the place. I don't know why, I don't know the story, but we got a line kit ordered. We can run all new lines and it should bring the rear end back to where it should be. So Mrs. Wizard promised you guys something totally different than the spacers, and what we have is where there should be mufflers, just straight pipe. And it goes back to some little flex pipe pieces here, which that wouldn't fly on a production line, into these special made slit style exhaust tips. This one was damaged. We actually have it apart. We're going to put some new flex pipe, put that all back together, and it won't be blowing into the bodywork there.
You mean Hoovie has a car with no muffler and no muffler Newton?
Yes, he fits the demographic. He has a no muffler Newton car, certified actually in Newton right now. No mufflers. Well, let's go ahead and get this thing on the ground. So as you can see, as beautiful as this car is, as awesome it is, you're like, oh, I would roll that car for hours. I would just love to cruise miles in that car. The thing is so awesome. Really? If you start to look at the underneath, it was just put together good enough for show. Will it ride very well with those weird suspension spacers up here? And I don't know. Again, I don't know what Hoovie's plans are. You'll have to follow along on his channel, what he's going to do with this car. But the history, the provenance, everything that goes along with this car, just sitting on display without driving, is really, really awesome. We're going to go through and fix the suspension issues. We're going to take care of his rear view mirrors, actually put some cameras in there, get his door poppers working, and take care of the exhaust and a few other things and get this thing dialed in. It'll be drivable again. But I definitely wanted to get a video for you guys to show you this amazing Eldorado. Oh, and also this was designed by General Motors and built by Chuck Lombardo. Any of you who are gearheads who know the custom car scene, Chuck Lombardo, I think he passed away, but this was one of his builds, designed by General Motors. Make sure to check out Mrs. Wizard's Way in the description below. Check out the video she's got going on there. Check out our Amazon affiliates link in the description below as well. For gift ideas, there's all kinds of tools and things we use in the shop for sale there. And if you buy any, we get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button here as well because we have many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.